So Legend of the Dragoon for the PlayStation 1 was one of those JRPGs that just got away from me, but stayed in my brain ever since. But hey, better late than never, and I'm so happy I got around to finishing this game. It definitely does some weird stuff, but that's what I like about it. I can't wait to go over this loved, one-of-a-kind, somewhat niche JRPG with you. As always, if you like the channel, make sure to subscribe. Let's get into it. Alright, so you may be asking yourself, how can a game that supposedly lives under Final Fantasy VII's shadow be one of a kind and have a cult following? Number one, there's a greatest hits version, so someone loves it. Number two, not every JRPG has to be Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest, and I can't stress that enough in this video. And while those two franchises are awesome, well-made JRPGs, sometimes delving into something more unconventional will result in an appreciation for those odd game design choices. And in this case, it's Legend of the Dragoon's combat system and much more that are notable departures from traditional JRPGs. You see, Legend of the Dragoon uses a quick time event type style to its combat. Hit the X button at just the right moments during an attack and your character puts out extra damage. And if you want to succeed in this game, you will have to master this, because failing to time your hits will result in pitiful damage output. I've actually heard people say with my own ears that the quick time fighting style is what turned them off about the game. And that's sad because it becomes second nature after a while, and I'm assuming they stopped playing early on before the story gets really good. But anyway, those quick time attacks are called additions. Successfully execute the additions and you actually level them up. I loved tinkering with new additions, which usually have a high risk, high reward nature to them. The more presses involved in an addition usually means more damage output and SP gain. Correct, there's more than just attacking with additions in Legend of the Dragoon.
Yes! Go! Madness! Hero!
So characters can transform into Dragoons when enough SP is gained through regular attacks. Defense and attack stats skyrocket and a bevy of attacks open up, including magic attacks. I found this weird at first, which is a theme here if you hadn't noticed. Having to build SP over a few turns in order to transform and then be able to use magic, as most battles early on don't even last that long. But midway through the game you do build up SP a lot faster, and you can battle more often as a Dragoon if that's something you wanted to do. I guess this is a good time to bring up the game's art direction. In 1999, at Nobody Beats the Wiz, where I first saw this game, I was shocked by how big and lifelike the characters looked. Unfortunately, the character models don't hold up at all, which I mean is expected from PlayStation 1 games at this point. The Dragoon transformations is where you're gonna get your money's worth, making the transformation that much more rewarding. During the transformation, your character gains new armor, wings, and just outright looks cool. It's almost as if they cut corners everywhere else. The pre-rendered graphics still look good, the in-game character models look a little iffy, but then you get to these Dragoon transformations and wow, amazing. Don't get too happy in Dragoon form, as it does go away after the SP meters are used up. Plan your fight accordingly. Fights are difficult. I was barely able to fight without focusing on my HP, which is a result of enemies being able to really damage your party at any point throughout the game. You won't be steamrolling enemies. You can heal your party via the guard technique, which again is an unconventional decision. Nice. I really like it. In typical JRPGs, you would use up valuable magic points to heal via spells, but in Legend of the Dragoon, you can heal to your heart's content via the guard technique until everyone's in tip-top shape. Usually I would just leave one enemy there and guard with everybody until I got full health again. This adds to the strategy because you can't have one sole healer on the team. If you have one of your stronger guys in need of health and you ran out of healing items, you're gonna need to guard with him, therefore losing out on his valuable damage output. That being said, some characters can heal in Dragoon form, but again, Dragoon form isn't always available. How can I almost forget to mention the game's elemental system? But again, they designed the elemental system in a rather odd way. From what I understand, to the best of my knowledge, there's 7 elements: fire, water, wind, earth, light, dark, and thunder. Fire and water actually do bonus damage to each other. This is odd because you would think fire couldn't damage water if Pokemon has taught us anything. Same with light and dark, same with earth and wind. Thunder, for some reason, is on its own, nothing really hurts it, nor does it cause bonus damage. I'm not the best with memorizing elemental systems, but I do love when they appear in games. It's like a nice rock, paper, scissors. I still managed my way through the game, and so will you. Battles can be slow, even the most minor fights, due to the battle's load times, the character animations, and even enemy attacks are fully animated. I'm super happy they stuck with such an unconventional combat system. It's always nice when a turn-based combat system has rhythmic qualities to it, and that's obviously what you get with Legend of the Dragoon.
Spinning cane!
So the story starts off amazing. It starts off with a dragon flying over a forest, very mysterious like. There's a character looking up at it, not saying a word. And then our main character Dart sees the dragon and actually gets attacked by the dragon. But who comes to rescue him? Rose, the mysterious character from earlier. She tells him, hey, I think you might want to go home. The Sandora army has attacked your city. He arrives only to find it completely destroyed and his childhood best friend slash maybe girlfriend slash kind of a stalker, she's kidnapped. So he sets out to save her. So at the prison where Dart went to rescue Shauna, he meets up with Lavitz. Lavitz joins the group and they successfully rescue Shauna. Now it's off to Serdian Castle to get down to what's really going on. You see, Dart has unfinished business with the Black Monster who destroyed his childhood home, and therefore his mother and father were killed as a result. King Albert sends the party over to the city of Hoax to defend the city from a Sandora army attack. It's during this attack that Dart realizes he can transform into a Dragoon. So with the town safe, they discover that King Albert was actually kidnapped by Lloyd in order to get his hands on the Moon Gem. These Moon Gems have magical powers, and when you collect all of them, well, you can assume the rest from here. When you collect all of them, something crazy happens. Let's just put it that way. I don't want to spoil it for you. The first half of the game's story pretty much serves as a way for each main character to find and discover their Dragoon transformation. And I loved it because you found yourself going from town to town. No town overstayed its welcome. There was a new setting, a new visual to every town, and the story's pacing was firing on all cylinders. Once everyone discovers their Dragoon power, Dart still has that small matter of defeating the Black Monster. And I'll leave it at that, no spoilers. If you're a fan of the game, you know what I'm talking about.
Why a demon, not a blessing? What does it mean? The mystery has yet to be resolved.
The Legend of the Dragoon's soundtrack was composed by Dennis Martin and Takeo Maratsu, and there is an insane amount of tracks here. This is a game spanning over 4 discs long. You get 2 battle themes, and certain themes are reused. Of course, as with any other game, like when characters are just talking about plot or when there's a flashback being played. My favorite themes are the upbeat, empowering themes, like the castle theme being my favorite. The musical style is uniquely its own. You really won't find the same style in a Final Fantasy VII or a Chrono Cross. And that's a good thing, it's got its own identity. I actually found myself playing the original soundtrack while I was editing this video. So very good job with the music, kudos there. Legend of the Dragoon is an awesome JRPG and a must-play for anybody who's a fan of PS1 JRPGs. There's tons of characters to play around with so that you can set up a team that works best for you. And yes, the game's approach to healing and magic use is a bit different, but nothing so bonkers you won't be able to wrap your head around. The characters have great chemistry. Some of my favorite moments in the game was just the dialogue between characters when they were just planning out their next move, ragging on each other. The out of battle character models are a little iffy looking. It's almost as if they saved their budget for the in battle character models and Dragoon transformations. The navigation throughout the world is somewhat linear. Of course, the most obvious being the overworld where it's just single paths to follow. In dungeons, the game really loves that Pac-Man style navigation where you go in one way and you pop out the other side. There's a few wacky puzzles here and there that'll take some time to solve. The most memorable puzzle for me being the one at the end of the game where you had to change the laws of the land, running back and forth upwards of 5 times through the same areas. But that's the most outrageous example, and it's near the end of the game, which, I'm sure they were just trying to pad out the game a bit. Most puzzles are more so platformy than anything else. So there you go, that's my review of Legend of the Dragoon. I completely understand why the fans love this game. This is a really, really epic story and a must-have for any PS1 JRPG collector. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.